right, let's add our Facebook friends and family in here before it's officially time to go. Got some spinning wheels here and still spinning. 1 and 2. Give it a second to breathe and welcome in. Welcome in. It is Tuesday morning, October 25th, and that means it's time for an episode of Broncos for Breakfast. I am Nick Kendell and joined by, as always, Scott Kennedy. Scott, welcome back to the world of suck, buddy. It's Broncos country is let's cry, man. It's it's rough times.
Nick, it's good to be here. As I was watching this Broncos Jets game, which I haven't had a chance to talk about with y'all. I had a couple things kept going through my mind. One of them was when you force parity, you end up, you're not rising people from the bottom. You're basically bringing people down, and you end up with a product like this, which is embarrassing to the NFL. Two, Rick Riley, former writer, he was the back cover writer, columnist for Sports Illustrated for a long time. And then he went on to do other things, and I lost track of him. I remember a comment he had about Rex Grossman coming into the Super Bowl as he was billed as the worst starting quarterback in the history of the Super Bowl, and he failed to live up to that. That was how I was watching this game. I'm like, the quarterback play in this game, the offense in this game was mind-numbingly bad. Yeah. It's just, we can talk about, I like a good pitcher's duel. You 1-0 with good pitching, guys are snapping there, but when guys are up there shutting their eyes and swinging, that's not a pitcher's duel. That's bad offense. Yes, the defenses were good. We talked about that going in. Yeah. The defenses were good on this team, but the quarterback play, the offensive execution was just putrid, just awful. It was It was painful. It was bad football.
Yeah, I tweeted out like halfway through the third quarter, this product is just bad, and I had about 200 likes on it. So Broncos country definitely feeling that way as well. But hopefully, season can get a little bit more on track here. At least have some direction. But it's rough. So yeah, the Broncos fall to 2-5 on the season, losing a game to the Jets. That, I mean, just looking at the stats overall, the Broncos probably should have won this game. Congrats to the Broncos. They didn't lose the penalty battle in this one. First time probably all season. 4 penalties for 34 yards compared to 11 for that.
They get a ring?
They should. Plan the parade, man. Jets having 11 penalties for 85 yards. The Broncos also win massively in third down efficiency, 5 for 16, which isn't great, but the defense, man, making the Jets go 3 for 14. Incredible. Zach Wilson did not look great out there. Total yards, the Broncos had a lot. I mean, really, this game comes down to probably 2 things in my book. You gave up the back-breaking explosive play to Breece Hall, which, I mean, there's the difference in the score right there. That one kills you. And then you lost a turnover battle by 1. And it's unfair to have this take or this kind of feeling, and I'm sure the defense feels this pressure as well. But I'm getting to the point where watching this Broncos team that it's where I've been for the Iowa Hawkeyes the last year and a half. If the defense does not create a defensive score here, we are going to lose. We are going to lose the game because the offense can't do it. The defense has to get a score early, and sometimes you have magical seasons where that's happening. I mean, 2015, I felt that way a lot. I mean, you had the strip sack touchdown early in the Super Bowl 50, that totally changed the outcome of the game. That probably how you can play football, blah, blah, blah. But the Broncos getting 0 turnovers on this one, let alone defensive points, because the Broncos have 0 so far this season. We can debate the DJ Jones, Draymond Jones strip sack, DJ Jones taking it in. I think that was a fumble. I don't know if you saw that play, Scott. But regardless, we're back in the same spot, and this team sounds dejected. The defense is at a loss for words. Justin Simmons 2 weeks ago, Mike Purcell this week. I mean, don't even know what to do. And it feels like there's starting to be a little bit of animosity in that locker room as well. Maybe even towards the offensive side of the ball, maybe towards coaching. Again, not in there, can't speak, but the tone has changed recently from a lot of these guys giving the interviews.
Well, they're professionals and they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed. And Andrew Lampy never embarrasses us coming in. Thank you for the stars, Andrew Lampy. Getting us started here. No pun intended. Appreciate you. Glad you are here. Watching that game, when the Jets had the lead, I was like, all right, as long as Zach Wilson doesn't give the ball away in a bad situation, a 3-and-out and a punt is a win. Punting is winning, speaking of Iowa. a 3-and-out and a punt is going to win this game for the New York Jets. At no point did I feel like the Broncos could drive down and score. How much difference does Russell Wilson make? I don't know. That's the scary thing. We said that going in. I mean, last week, if you go back and read how we analyzed this game, we were pretty good about it. I said that the difference in these two teams right now is they're both bad on offense. They're both good on defense, but the Jets have more of an identity. They're of a run the ball. We understand we're not very good throwing the ball. We're going to lean on our two good running backs, and hopefully Zach Wilson won't screw it up. And frankly, for a guy who was picked number 2 overall, he's as bad an NFL quarterback as I've ever seen. I mean, he's maybe the light bulb will come on, but last year watching him, I said the scary thing for Jets fans is he's worse when he has time. That's what should really be scary for you, is that when he has to make a decision, it's actually worse. When he has time to make a decision, it's actually worse. And I didn't see any improvement out of him. He's bad. This is a pretty good overall team, but their quarterback play is atrocious.
Yeah, and I don't think it's because of the protection. They did a pretty good job investing in the security around him. In Broncos country, if you're like me, you're getting more concerned about cybercrime with people stealing your private data and invading your privacy. I'm not tech savvy at all. That's why I know I use NordVPN on all my browsers, whether it's on my desktop, tablet, laptop, or phone. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and NordVPN protects you as a one-stop shop for all things cybersecurity. It's incredibly easy for me to use, which means I don't have to be an MIT graduate or from Stanford or anything to figure it out. With just one click, I'm protected. It's very intuitive to use. With my NordVPN account, I can have up to 6 devices protected. I no longer have to worry about hackers, malicious sites, and pop-ups, which sometimes for streaming games, you do worry about that. For the price of a single cup of coffee per month, I have a complete peace of mind knowing that my devices and data are all protected. Plus, with NordVPN, I'm never a slave to the media blackouts. I can switch my virtual location to a market that is showing an NFL game I want to watch, so I don't miss out and can watch the action live, which, if you're a Bronco fan living in a non-Bronco area on the West Coast, lifesaver. Broncos country, grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/MHH to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan for 4 months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/MHH to get 4 months free. Check it out today.
Whew. All right. Yeah, it's that's a pretty nice little feature where you can be somewhere else and not worry about blackout rules, the antiquated blackout rules around the league. It's like, you know what? I'll be in Norway today. I am in Denver local market. I was actually in New Orleans, and that was the Broncos game was the local game. So I didn't have any trouble watching that one, but then I had trouble watching it because the football was so bad. Nathaniel Hackett stands up there, Nick, and says, I am sick of standing up here and saying the same thing over and over again. I'm like, oh, he sounds like he's writing his resignation. I mean, he won't resign, of course, but it's like, dude, when you get up there and you're having to say the same thing over and over again, whose problem is that? There's a frustration level with the players. I'm getting players open and they're not making the plays, but who's that on right now?
I mean, if you're dropping Brett Rippon back 46 times in a game against the Jets, that's a one-score game, almost the entire game with how poor your offensive line has looked this season. Now, to be fair, I think they did, in pass protection at least, probably have one of their best games of the season. Now, is that Brett Rippon calling out protection better than Russell Wilson, who was abysmal at that against the Chargers?
And getting rid of the ball faster?
Or that. But, I mean, you got to help your offensive line some. That was the double-edged sword with Wilson, who looks a little bit more cemented issues than in years past. So that's a question mark here. But dropping Rippon back 46 times in a one-possession game, you got to protect your team. You got to protect the offense. I know we get real tired of the run-pass looks there, but hell, with Rippon back there, an undrafted free agent who's got a wet noodle arm, maybe even a couple of runs. It's 3rd and 3. Run the damn ball. I know they've been not great at that this season, but Melvin Gordon only getting 10 carries for 30 yards. Latavius Murray having efficiency. I mean, the Broncos' efficiency on the ground in this game wasn't terrible. I mean, rushing for Gosh, I guess it is not great. Not great when you look at it. There 3.8 yards per attempt, but that's not, two. It's been ripping back 50 or 46 times. Unacceptable. Just not great. And Malcolm Brown coming in and saying, why didn't the Jets blitz very much? They are not a blitz heavy personnel team. Robert Saleh wants to live in a cover 3 world, and it was effective in controlling the game. I mean, the Broncos only put up 9 points, so it's really hard to question the methodology here from Robert Saleh and the Jets defense.
Yeah, to make a real easy on that one, Malcolm, is because they didn't have to. Yeah. They didn't have to. You blitz when you're afraid the quarterback's going to beat you with his arm, and you've got to upset him and get him out of rhythm. If you want to, if I'm Robert Saleh and the New York Jets, you want to tell me going in, our game plan is to, and I'm not saying this was a game plan, but this is how it worked out. Our game plan is to drop Brett Rippon back and let him throw the ball 50 times and have at it. Have at it. If on the flip side of the Broncos say the same thing, I have no reason to blitz Zach Wilson. I want him standing back there feeling comfortable throwing the ball. I don't have any reason to blitz him. I might do it every so often. Again, you don't not ever. You want to show it. You want to do it. But you want those guys back there throwing the ball. One of them did. One of them didn't. Guess who? The team that threw the least times won the game. Man, I could have told you that going in. Good Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott, I'm going to exit out real quick and then come right back in because it says I have one bar. Sometimes that helps clear things. So give me 10 seconds. I'll be back, chat.
Okay. Well, we're going to also talk about some of the trade rumors coming around. Bradley Chubb is one of those guys. Is that something that you want to make a move for? Why? Why not? At 2-5, is it time to sell? George Paton, before the season started, guaranteed they would have more draft picks before than they have right now before the draft approaches. Bradley Chubb is probably your best asset. I don't even think probably. Nick, is Bradley Chubb your most tradable asset right now?
Your most tradable, yes. Your best asset is Patrick Surtain, but there's no reason to trade him.
Yeah, Patrick Surtain is he ain't getting traded.
2 years from now, if we're in the same situation, then maybe we're having that conversation. But for now, it's definitely Bradley Chubb. He's been having an excellent season so far this year. He is increasingly expensive, and you invested in the position heavily this offseason to put yourself in a position where you could withstand in theory, could withstand a Bradley Chubb injury. So far, knock on wood, he's been healthy, and he's been playing pretty well. But I'm with Jeremy Sean here. Only sell Chubb if it's a good deal. Don't just sell to sell. If somebody's coming in here with just a third-round pick for Bradley Chubb, I'm holding on to him. I may be even tagging him this offseason because guess what? With the contract you played Russell Wilson, this isn't a team that you can say we're going to tear it down and rebuild. It's going to have to be a reload position this offseason, in my opinion. And that means if you're getting back assets for Chubb, and similar to the Von Miller deal, we've seen a lot of people talking about that. Adam Schefter yesterday on Denver radio saying that if the Panthers are looking for 2 firsts for Brian Burns, there's no way you can't get the equivalent to the Von Miller deal for Bradley Chubb. We have Charles Robinson at Yahoo Sports saying that the Broncos should be able to get a Von Miller-like deal for Bradley Chubb. We'll see if it plays out that way. But definitely Chubb is your most tradable asset that you can bring in the most back that makes the most sense to trade at the same time.
Yeah, when you're talking about the health thing is a concern, because if nobody signs him in the offseason, you don't get a comp pick. What's his comp pick deal? But that's a risk that's probably worth taking because at this point he would be tough to bring back. He'd be a free agent. He'd get a good free agent deal, and he'd probably get a deal that is more attractive than the project that he sees right now in Denver. So you're talking about, okay, a 3rd or 4th round comp pick, and I give up, half of his salary this year. Someone would take it out. What is he, about 11 or 12 million on his option year right now? So 10, you playing 2/3 of that. So let's just round up. We'll call it $8 million. So you're saving $8 million in someone else's pocket, and you get a 2nd round pick. That might be, and then you use that money to buy back something else. So again, it would need to be at least a Von Miller deal of a 2nd and a 3rd, at least that for you to make that move right now. Otherwise, you just hold on to him, risk that you can re-sign him and play the comp pick game. The comp pick game makes it unfair to the players. As usual, it makes player personnel moves and takes player power away and their rights to choose where they want to play. Because, well, I don't have to trade. I'm going to get something anyway if he leaves.
And just to add the context of that, you do have to limit yourself in free agency to an extent if you do that. So if Bradley Chubb signs a deal and then you sign a player to an equivalent contract, those will cancel each other out, assuming that he is not the player that you signed is not a street free agent, meaning he was released off his contract. But yeah, no, it's definitely an option as well. And you could even tag him. I mean, there's no such thing as having too many. It's expensive, but also you have the Waltons here. And you can move some cap around to get that there, and you still have more value. And then you can maybe get the comp pick after that. It's one of those things. And also, I'm of the opinion that in that scenario, you do the Joker in the pool hall, snapping the pool cue over his legs between Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb, and saying whoever's the healthiest and whoever plays the best gets that next contract. Because I know Randy Gregory, 5-year deal. It's a 2-year deal with 3 years options after that. So you don't have to sell him. If you do sell him, it's giving up on the season. No doubt, but we're already at 2-5. Maybe that's something you have to talk about here. A few more questions spring from this, Scott, as far as trading Bradley Chubb. So we are looking for, personally, I'm looking for 2 2s, given his age, given his pedigree. I would be okay deferring a draft pick this year for 2024 if I can get a second 2 rather than a 2 and 3 this year. Personally, I'm always of the belief that it's the Howie Roseman model where most teams are not patient enough where they can live in a world where they get surplus value down the line. They'd rather have it now. And I'd rather have the surplus value down the line because I don't have my butt on the hot seat as a personnel guy. But 2 things that spring here that might change the formula a tad, in my opinion. Baron Browning has a hip injury that he's going to be out now for weeks. That makes it a lot harder out there. I mean, this Broncos team, the Broncos, 49ers, and the Chargers, there must be something west of the Rockies here that I guess Denver's east of the Rockies still, but west of the Mississippi here where these teams are just getting injured like crazy. It's unbelievable. Same teams year after year, it seems like, for the last 5 years, leading the leagues in injuries. But Baron Browning's going to be out for a bit. You're already dealing with Randy Gregory out. Is this something that, because of that, would that deter you from trading Bradley Chubb? Because it's not like this team can tank. You don't have your first round pick. It doesn't do you any good to lose games.
I know that's the hard part about this. Is the upside though is there is salary cap available. There is, and like I've said, I think 2 interior linemen changes this team around dramatically. Assuming people get healthy. Obviously that's always the big one. I always say that. Well, what about injury? Yes, I know injuries are going to ruin everybody. 78 Leadhead, a great community member. Good to see you in here live. See you on the comments all the time. Gregory's never shown he can stay healthy. Losing Browning hurts. Baron Browning is the truth. And as Jeremy reminds us, Browning was hurt last year too. Everybody's hurt every year. That's also one of the big things that we talk about. And Nathaniel Hackett was asked about it a couple of weeks ago. He says, yeah, we're looking. Sometimes the ACL stuff feels a little unpredictable, but we're evaluating everything. That said, Nick, does it matter what Nathaniel Hackett has to say at this point? I mean, we're 7 games in, and I'm not ready to say dead man walking like I was at this point last year with Vic Fangio, but we are still trending. Said it for the last 2 weeks. We are still trending on one and done. They'll get the year, still trending on one and done.
I think there's a chance that if the Broncos get embarrassed in London, that they leave Hackett on the tarmac. I really do. And I think it's not a George Payton decision. I think that is a ownership related decision. I mean, and this is based on some people in the media that I talk with, that right now the ownership group is pretty disheartened.
Disenchanted.
Yes, pretty immediately disenchanted. And also it's the fan experience. I mean, I'm seeing more and more people being like, yeah, I'm going to the pumpkin patch. Screw this. Like, I'm not doing that with my Sunday. The fans, it's a 1 possession game. And with the Broncos, their second to last drive, only 15% of the seats are filled. About 7,000 no-shows this last week against the Jets. I mean, the owners are there. They see this, and it's a 1 possession game, and there's no energy in the stadium. It's zapped. It's dead in there. So if it's another clunker out there with just head scratching decisions too. I mean, we went over yesterday with Eric, but like 56-yard field goal in the rain, throwing shot put passes on 3rd and 1 when you need like nothing, running the ball on like 3rd and there seems to be absolutely no identity, no plan, no bag of tricks. Like this is who we are. Who are you, Nathaniel Hackett? It's just there's nothing there.
I always bucked at this, remember what I was doing, and I was doing the scouting of high school football players like online when that business started. So it was looked at like, what do you know? You're not a coach. What do you know? You don't know anything. You can't be any good at this. What do you know? You're not a coach. Like, have you seen the decisions that these coaches make at the highest level? I'm pretty sure I'm smarter than at least one of these guys. It's the pressure is telling. The pressure is telling. And it is one of the big risks of hiring a first-time head coach. You're not sure, but you still don't expect this. I think Zach had the tweet yesterday where he's just like, 3rd and 3, throw it deep. 3rd and 16, draw play. It was just like everything was backwards from what you might expect. Again, the one you said, it's swirling rainy. You missed an extra point. Kick a 56-yard field goal. It's just, if there's any place to do it, in soccer, managers are sacked midseason constantly. If there's a bad turn in the season, they're gone. I mean, it's ruthless. So leaving him in England, well, maybe we can get a ride back together.
And that's shocking to say, and I'm not advocating for it per se, because I also think there's something to be said about giving a guy a full year, and also the perspective of that, or how that appears to other potential head coaching candidates. This guy had so many injuries out there. Russell Wilson was playing terribly, and he didn't have it right. But am I going to have it right in the first 6-7 games of the year? Probably better than what we've seen, but that still might. And I know you're going to disagree because there's only 32 spots. But if there's a lot of different jobs out there, maybe you're going to be less enticed. If you're the top candidate, maybe the Broncos are going to have to pick from that second level. Fortunately, what Broncos have going for them, again, coming back to the rich owners, if there's somebody they want, they can throw money,
right?
Which could help.
And that's the thing. It's like, well, I'm going to get a $75-80 million guaranteed contract. I'm not too worried about him. And plus, I'm egotistical enough to know I'm better than that guy.
Yeah.
That's also the key is I'm better than them. I'm better than him. That's the ego in all these guys. You think Sean Payton is sitting back there saying, I can't do better than Nathaniel Hackett, and you're going to give me $100 million? Because what did Gruden get? Didn't Gruden get about 10 years, $100 million? And that was years ago. Matt Rule got 7 for $70 to come out of the college ranks and never coached an NFL game.
Yeah.
I mean, money talks, Nick. So again, if this had been, okay, you brought in somebody with an established reputation and, had done, the same valid excuses. Okay. The injuries, all the newness, all this stuff, and it looked competent and the rug was pulled out from under them pretty quickly. Maybe. But in this case, no, it will have zero effect. Money talks, and Nathaniel Hackett has been so bad that he's trending on my timeline after every game about people talking about how bad he's been. And it sucks. I feel I like the man as a human being from what I've seen, but come on.
Yeah. I want to say hello to some people in the chat here. Morning, guys. Nice to get the band back together so we can commiserate together. I guess I got bad news for you guys on that front, and I'll make an announcement again on this one. But Scott and I are going to be having our own travel day on Thursday this week, so there will be no morning show. I'm sure we're going to get 20 Twitter messages like, where's the show going on, which God bless you guys for that, because that means people are enjoying the product. But Scott is going to be traveling to London, and I'm going to be traveling back to the Midwest for a wedding this weekend. So we're both traveling Thursday morning at the same time, rather than having two other people come out here. We're just going to have a travel day as well. So I guess you guys get a break from Broncos football, which maybe is needed as well. Dave Glassman with the hearts in here. Good to see you. Malcolm, hello from Homer, Alaska. Bama X, good morning, Broncos country. Sunny Days is here. Good to see you. Our guy Roderick Koch in here saying, I feel like an interloper at someone's funeral. take no pleasure in the Broncos' demise. Being a Falcons fan for nearly 50 years, I share your pain. The Falcons have been the most enjoyable football I've watched this season, which, and listening to the chat this morning, some frustration there, obviously coming off a bad loss, but you could be watching Iowa and Denver on your weekends, which would be much worse. Big E Bronco, good morning. Good to see you. And Diamond Rattler coming in saying, only way I'm trading Chubb is if I get a second round pick, which isn't likely, so I keep him and try to sign him long term. I'm not trading him for a second. I need a second plus to trade him there. I think you're going to get more value. That you could even like tag and trade at the end of the season, I think, for better than that third round comp pick that you'd be playing for, which is essentially the first pick of day 3 because it's that late in the draft. So I want more than a second. DWI guys, good afternoon, gents. Good to see you, Ethan. We miss you. Albert Knoppers, good morning, all. Great to see you. Glenn Hare. Did we already get to Glenn? Morning, guys. Rumors Hackett might be gone if they lose against Jacksonville. I've heard some rumblings as well. Would make sense to see Evero can turn the team around before he gets another head coaching gig next year. What do you think about giving Ejiro Evero a head coaching opportunity if this team continues to struggle offensively and the coaching staff looks totally outmatched?
I wouldn't mind going interim, give him an interim label, and then if he goes 6-2 down the stretch, elevate him to full time. If the guys respond, I do think the Raiders made a mistake last year. I don't remember his name, some Italian sounding name, the special teams coordinator, but the guys rallied around for him, and they played well down the stretch, and they didn't elevate him. Why not? Why not? And then they just, throw a retread multiple time loser in there, which is just insane. So yeah, I'd be okay with Evero. What are your choices internally?
Yeah,
it's a brand new staff.
Yeah, Evero's been incredible, and it sounds like he's an extremely intelligent person. So I think maybe that shakeup there, just giving him a chance at that guy helping his resume because he deserves it. I mean, I'm looking at a stat right now for conversion rates so far this season. The Broncos have the 31st ranked offense as far as converting. They are just absolutely horrible. They only convert first downs on 63% of their series of downs, and which is terrible. Only being outpaced or underpaced by the Panthers at 58. But then the Broncos defense, number 1 in the NFL on getting off the field, conversion rate 63%, with Dallas 65, the Rams 67, and the Buccaneers 67. So I guess you do take a chance where the defense takes a step back with Evero shifting responsibilities and whatnot. But at the same time, I'm really curious about maybe Christian Page getting a chance then at the defensive coordinator spot. He's a really highly thought of defensive back coach to the point where the Broncos retained him off last season's staff to this year's staff. So if the Broncos lose to the Jags in embarrassing fashion where the decisions are terrible, the offense is completely inept, I'm not against it.
Yeah, 2-5 Jacksonville Jaguars. That means they've lost 5 straight because they started off house on fire 2-0. The Jags kind of reverted back to where we thought they might be. Yeah. Where would Doug Peterson be with this team? And Ben Holton comes in. Welcome in, Ben. He says Denver should fire their head coach, Russell Wilson. Hackett isn't the problem. If I'm getting shown up by a subordinate, I am the problem. It is my problem. Unless I'm being undermined by my boss and having my legs cut out from me by George Payton, then okay, and I can use that in my next job interview. That would come out that will come out in the next, because Nathaniel Hackett would get interviews. He's not leaving coaching. He might not jump right back into a head coaching job right away, but he'd have a job on offensive staff. And go back and coach for the Packers, whatever. He'd get another job, and if he's not getting the support he needs from the front office, that would show up in his interview. Someone just rang my doorbell. If you can't hear my dog,
who could it be? Yeah, no. The other issue is that you can't fire Wilson. You are married to him the next 4 years, so. What can you do about that? Let's say hello to some people here. Greg Smith, good morning, Broncos for breakfast. Good to see you, Greg. We also got I'm the man coming in saying Russell wins the game. I feel bad for Boone. It's finally his time. He was 3rd and 4th in Minnesota too. Yeah, Boone gets injured. Luckily, it's not a serious injury. We will see him back at some point this season probably. But yeah, the Broncos are injured. I guess we can roll through that as well. Broncos, Cam Fleming injured. We all get the Calvin Anderson experience now this week against Trevon Walker and Josh Allen with the Jags. So buckle up, everybody. It was an obvious step back in ability going from Cam Fleming to Calvin Anderson. Unfortunately, I know that he has his interesting group of fans, but the tape don't lie. It has not been very good. So will be a tough one. And my question for you is, Scott, so pivoting here to the Jags game a bit, since we don't have an episode Thursday, I guess this is our 15 minutes of preview here. Should the Broncos, should they play Russell Wilson in this game?
If he's healthy, yes, they should. If you've got a risk of, make sure I unmuted myself.
You're good.
If you've got a risk of him being gone for the long term, when you talk about partial muscle tears, small tears become big tears.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the problem, then no, he shouldn't play. If he's got a partial tear in his hamstring, no, he shouldn't play until it's completely healed. If that's not necessarily all that's, if it's a shoulder, whatnot, if he's in a situation where he's not going to get worse by playing, he should play. If he can deal with the pain, he should play. But again, going into the season, I'd still would play Josh Johnson over Brett Rippon. Would he get more? He's just got more tools. Brett Rippon, God bless him. He's not an NFL quarterback, like a legit week in and week out NFL quarterback. So yeah, if he's healthy, he should play. Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%. It's I think I'm going to disagree with you here. I think the season at 2-5 is already done. And if I am George Payton coming down here, I'm saying we are married to Russell Wilson for the next 5 years. And the best chance for us to be good going forward is for Russell Wilson to be healthy and gain some confidence and gain some chemistry with these weapons. You have the bye week right afterwards. I'm to the point where I'm not even having Russell Wilson fly to London. Go off, you want to go off and be, insulated. Here's your chance to be insulated for a week. Take a 2-week vacation, heal up. The season's already done. Let's go have the Brett Rippon experience again. And maybe that's me being surrender Cobra out here for the Broncos this season. But with that bye week built in there, after that, I'm giving him this week as well. Now, if the Broncos were 4-3 or 3-4, then maybe we're having a different conversation. But the lat injury, the hamstring injury, 2-5 on the season. Sorry, Hackett. This is a tough show for you, but you at least got to show competent out there with whatever quarterback it is. And I wouldn't have it be Russell Wilson. Also, in that same front, I'm playing Bradley Chubb sparingly in this game and Jerry Jeudy sparingly in this game, because if you lose this game, you don't want those guys to be hurt. And I think Jerry Jeudy come off his best game of the season. I said it when the Broncos traded for Russell Wilson. I'm concerned about the stylistic fit of Jerry Jeudy and Russell Wilson. Jerry Jeudy is awesome in the quick game, getting open horizontally from the slot and from the Z. Russell Wilson isn't really that kind of quarterback. Like I said earlier, you're married to Russell Wilson. It's unfortunate, but maybe you can get more value for Jerry Jeudy, trading him somewhere else and giving him a chance to play with more of a quick pass offense, where you can then lean into somebody who's more of a big body down the field blocking ability that fits what you're doing with Russell Wilson more.
Yeah, and you see people, every time I read about Jerry Jeudy, I look into the comments and I say, "Oh, he's a Giant, he's a Packer." I'm like, I don't know where he fits. I don't watch enough of the other teams to know what the quick passing game is. It feels like everybody should be able to hit the quick passing game. That's the easy stuff.
Yeah.
And Diamond Rattler says, "I'm sitting Russ until the bye." Again, for me, it depends on how healthy he is. If he's in a place where he's healthy, he should play. If he's healthy and he's not playing, that's an even worse message to send. That this guy he gets such special treatment that he doesn't have to play. You can't do that. So again, it depends on how healthy he is. If he's got a partial tear in his hamstring, absolutely not should he play. Small tears become big tears. Bruises, we say get a knock. If I've got a deep thigh bruise or something like that, that's how much pain can I deal with. That gets better. Lou 101 comes in. He says the Bears exploded with Fields last night by going for plays that matched his skill set. Trying to get a QB with Wilson's body of work to adapt to a totally different style is like having a rookie QB with a rookie head coach, with a guy who didn't call plays for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, it's bad, Lou. You're right. Justin Fields looked really good last night. Was listening to some of the stats on him, and he had, he's converted 6 of 8 third downs running the ball. That's not necessarily sustainable over the long term, but how do you? it's another weapon to have. And he was hitting the easy throws that Zach Wilson couldn't. It was fun watching him go back. Yeah, he's missing some of the deep shots, but go back. Okay, I slide to my pocket to the left. I buy a little time. Oh, there's a guy 2 yards past the sticks, wide open. I'm just going to hit him in the chest with it. Mind blown. I didn't see that at all in the Jets-Broncos game.
No. Yeah, and it's talking about Lou 101's comment here. I don't think it's as much Hackett here as it is Wilson. I mean, Wilson wants to be Drew Brees. I mean, that's just he wanted to go pair with Sean Payton, the let Russ cook stuff, wanting the high volume passing. I don't think it's as much Hackett's offense right now as it is Russell Wilson having power. I mean, how much empty sets you're seeing from the Broncos despite their tackle play, despite the wide receiver issues. I don't think that's a Hackett thing. I think that's a Russell Wilson having influence over this and wanting to be this idealized quarterback that maybe he just isn't. Again, you're gonna have to figure it out this year. You're married to Wilson. It's the next big hurdle for George Payton. And I see comments coming in here from somebody saying you need to keep Payton accountable too. Payton is definitely heating up here because of this trade and the contract as well, and the Hackett hiring. And I can't talk out. I'd be on the hot seat too because I would have made that Russell Wilson trade. I was fine with the extension at the time, but now it all looks bad. So I guess it's easier for me to sit here being Monday morning general manager, but alas, somebody's going to be accountable for that. That's just the nature of the business.
I liked the trade for both sides. I preached, what's your rush?
Yeah.
On the contract extension. Give everybody just a little bit of a time. Live together for a little bit. You got 2 years left on the deal. We'll see how everybody starts to fit when we go live here. Give it a month. And if he says, oh, well, he wouldn't have taken the deal for a year, and things go well, it gets more expensive. So what? You know what's really expensive? Missing is really expensive. You're about to find out. We're finding out how expensive it is to miss the way things are going right now. And as Miguel comes in, appreciate you, Miguel, on Facebook with the stars. He says, if Hackett is fired and Evero takes over, do you see him as head coach of the Broncos next year? Maybe. Like I said, if you have a Raiders situation where you promote an interim head coach, put an interim label on him, and the guys respond well and win down the stretch, again, let's say Hackett gets left in in London, and you promote Evero to head coach, and you're sitting there at 2-6 with 9 games left. You go 6-3, 7-2. I absolutely make that interim label permanent. Abso-freaking-lutely. And I go and hire somebody with more experience as a proven offensive coordinator, who's been around a while. I was really surprised. I know they have Dom Capers there, but that was one of the things that really surprised me, Nick, was that you didn't get an old head come in as one of your coordinators.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And Audie Bell, you better be careful here. You're going to get blocked by Scott. I'll let you kind of troll around in the chat on Monday, but if you're just here, punching down right now, then you won't be sticking around long. So I'm fine with it if you want to come in and actually talk ball. I'm actually really enjoying the Seahawks draft class so far this season. Kenny Walker was one of my guys in the draft. Obviously, Abraham Lucas is out there. Charles Cross, Tariq Woolen. I mean, killing it right now. But be careful because you won't stick around if you are just talking crap. You know who doesn't talk crap, though? We absolutely love. Mark Schrader coming in saying, good morning, Nick and Scott. Good to see you, Mark. We always appreciate you. Hopefully your road to recovery after your heart surgery is that much better now that we are weeks past that. So good to see you around here, Mark. Always appreciate talking to you.
Jamie coming in. Oh, the spammers right now are more compelling than the Broncos. It is tough. So what are we looking for, Nick? Because right now, you're not winning games and you're playing bad football. So what do you watch? What are you watching for? What are you looking for that makes it? Why do I want to tune into this team that makes it interesting?
Because football is better than no football. You're going to miss it a lot in come March. So that's one, but there's still some young, fun options to get on here. I'm excited to see what Greg Dulcich continues to do out there for 2 games. He's actually been an interesting part of the offense. He made some good plays out there. I'm excited to see him continue to grow. And the defense still has a lot of good playmakers. I think at some point, the turnovers will probably start to come a little bit more. And the building blocks of a successful season, if it's going to happen next year, are on this team right now. So it's about these guys improving. It might be a new system. It might be a new coach. It's crazy after 7 games. It already seems inevitable that it's going to be a new coaching staff. Oh, there goes Audi. See you, bud.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm not interested.
Yep.
As soon as I catch up to the chat and see this stuff, go talk trash somewhere else. That's what social media is for. Not in our chat. Don't care. You want to come talk Seahawks and say hey, you guys were all wrong about Geno Smith? Great. Absolutely. Geno Smith's proven everybody wrong. Without a doubt. But haha, LOL, TTFN.
Right, well. Yeah, and we got Salvi Nation, leave Hackett in London to coach Chelsea. Yeah, maybe we have it reversed. Ted Lasso
your tongue.
Yeah. But all right. Well, Scott, we probably got to get out of here pretty soon.
Wow,
but,
I'm not going anywhere with Naj showing up.
Yeah. Man, Naj coming in $49.99, big time, saying, I don't see anything good from trading away your best players. Just reinforces the loser culture, infesting in the organization. We've been sellers at the trade deadline for 6 years in a row. Where has it gotten us? We need to steady, competent coaching. Well, you don't have the steady and competent coaching. You don't have draft picks. You're married to the quarterback that you have right now for the next 3 to 4 years. So I guess maybe, Scott, how do you feel about this? Approaching Bradley Chubb with a reasonable contract extension that is still team friendly. And that can be your turning point there. Because if you can get a deal there, that's great. I don't see why he would accept it. But if not, then maybe you can multifaceted, like, oh, we did what we could. We wanted to stick around. We offered him a contract. Alas, he didn't want to do that. So we decided the best thing for this team long-term was to trade him. You can sell it to the fans. You can at least have made an honest or somewhat honest effort to retain him and then start to chip away at your dearth of draft capital.
I think Naj has a very valid point here. Listen, suffer with the rest of us, Bradley. We're going to fight. We're going to be a team. We're going to come out of this together. The thing is Bradley Chubb's if he's on his way out anyway, why don't you try and get something for him? But again, you play the comp game. So it would need to be a deal, Naj, that isn't just do a deal to get a deal done. Okay. So as an example, the Falcons wanted to move Deion Jones, just get him out. And it's going to cost him $20 million. Just get him out. They traded Deion Jones and a 7th in 2024 to get a 6th back. Okay? That is cutting the guy. We don't want you around, period. What you're saying, that doesn't fly with Bradley Chubb because he's a productive member of this team. Do not do that. Yeah. This has to be a deal you can sell to the team. Okay? It has to be a deal you can sell to the guys that you're going to be building with for the next 2 or 3 years. Okay? I'm getting a deal so good, it's going to make us better while you're here. This season, it isn't going well. You've got 3 years left on your contract, Justin, Patrick, Russell, the teams you're counting, the players you're counting on. It has to be a deal like that. If it's not a deal like that, I'm with you 100%. I've come around on this. I'm with you. I'm with you, Naj. We're not selling to sell. We're selling to get better. And if that happens, you can sell that in the locker room. You can.
Yeah, 100%. We also got RD coming in with the Canadian 5, saying, how do you guys think Russell will react to us selling players and making the team worse in the short term while he has manageable cap hits? You're 2-5 right now. And this is about being better in 2023, if possible, and giving yourself ability to build offensive infrastructure that right now you obviously do not have. Scott, I'm going to maybe do a full heel turn here this upcoming offseason where I'm just going to be like, we've tried almost everything besides just a full-on leaning into the offensive line. I said it when we first got Russell Wilson. This team might need to be one where they are top 5, top 10 in rushing personnel in order to live with how Russell Wilson plays. And right now they are very far from that. So maybe I'm going to lean full into the offensive line truther, building that unit up this offseason. So getting capital, creating space allows you to do that. The defense surely will take a step back if you lose Bradley Chubb, but I'm honestly okay with the defense taking a slight step back if it means you're able to add assets and talent to the offensive side of the ball, because I can't take much more of this product of football.
And I agree with you. How selling Chubbs and making the team worse in the short term? The team's bad in the short term. Again, like he says, they're 2-5.
The question is about 2023. Would trading Chubb be better than potentially losing him this offseason again, or tagging him compared to the return on investment for 2023? That's the question.
If you move Chubb in the middle of the season, it's got to be a deal that obviously makes the team better. next year.
Yes.
David come in and says, not much better than 4 years of Chubb in the future. Unknown picks better. I doubt it. This is why we draft. 4 years of Chubb in the future. You have to re-sign him. That's the whole point. He's in the last year of his deal. You have zero guarantee, unless I'm misunderstanding this, Nick. You have zero guarantee that you get anything more than the next, where are we at? 10 games? I can't do the 17-game math, Nick. I can't do it. You got 10 games, assuming Bradley Chubb plays other. That's it. You got 10 games of Bradley Chubb, David. That's it. So if I can get a second-round pick out of it, maybe
I need more than a second.
I'd listen for a second. I'd listen for a second. Because that's definitely more than I'm getting in a comp. But if I get a second and change, right. So I think when I usually talk trades, I talk what's the highest pick I get. So if you throw in a second, a fourth, and a fifth,
okay.
Maybe, but I'm listening at a second is where I start listening. You say a third is the highest you're going to go, then I'm not listening.
Click. Yeah.
Second. So you say second, okay, and what? What else are you going to throw in? We'll swap. I'll send you a fourth. You send me a third. Whatever. But I'm listening at a second. But you don't have the guarantee. If you approach him with a deal, Chubb's got to re-sign it. He doesn't have to re-sign now. And you tag him, you're talking $23-24 million. That's going to eat up most of the rest of your salary cap to try and then rebuild your offensive line. Kathy coming in. Hi, I'm always late. Have fun in London, Scott. I plan on having fun in London. Sorry, Zach's not going to go with me, but I'm going to have a good time. Ethan may have calmed down from Sunday. He was pissed. Our DWI guy's friend was a little mad, a little dejected about this team. That was his gut reaction. I'm not watching these guys anymore. Oh, I think we'll be back. We'll see each other down there. We're going to have a good time in London.
Yeah, 100%. The final topic I want to get to before I get out of here, we got to get on out of here a little bit earlier today, although it's almost 8:30. Jerry Jeudy, I think he's probably your next most likely tradable asset. And I know Bama X is 100% right. See in here Bama X saying that Jeudy is your best separator. You definitely take a step back moving on from Jeudy. But from everything I gathered, I think some folks in the front office are not the biggest Jerry Jeudy fans. He was not drafted by this regime, and we've seen how that's turned out for other players that were from the Elway era. And I don't think that Jerry Jeudy is a great scheme fit. I think this team going forward, honestly, Scott, I would kill to put Russell Wilson in the Arthur Smith offense where it's a lot of max protect, deep play action looks there, shot plays, and running the ball, only throwing the ball 20 times a game, and higher than what we saw last week from the Falcons, but 20 times a game and then running the ball effectively. And I just think Jerry Jeudy is not a fit for that.
Part of this, Nick, is, and this is this discussion we go in a scheme with the shotgun. We want to see under center, et cetera, et cetera. You can absolutely run the ball out of the shotgun. But if you're doing it in a single back with RPOs, your running back has to be a legit threat. Every so often be able to play. And right now, Russell's not that. Mariota is that threat. Mariota is a big threat running the ball. I don't know that Russell Wilson, to what you're saying, would be a fit in that offense because I don't have to respect his ability, his willingness to tuck and run.
Yeah. I think you do it somewhat, though, especially if your running back is good. But before we get on out of here, Ethan coming in, $50 American dollars here, saying, great show, gents in Broncos country. Good to see you. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, I know it's rough times right now, but we'll see what happens here going forward. The Broncos got a game in the Jags. Let's just appreciate the pageantry in London with two poor teams. I remember when the Broncos were 2-1 and the Jags were 2-1. It's like, could this be the best London game ever? And here we are, 2-5. Both teams looking pretty damn poor so far.
I gotta get my ticket.
I know.
God, I'll wait until Saturday night.
Yeah, you'll be able to find one, but we'll see what happens here. Either way, it's going to be exciting, and there's going to be some movement coming up here for the Broncos. Again, an announcement here. Scott and I will not be here Thursday morning. We will both be traveling, so there will be no show. I will make sure to tweet it out from the Twitter accounts as well, but is what it is. We appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you're following Scott and I on Twitter. Scott is at Scott Kennedy. I am at Nick Kendell, MHH. Also, make sure you're following us at BFB_pod and at Mile High Huddle. If you haven't done so yet, join us at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. And make sure that you subscribe, like, and share over on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. I will see you again next Monday. This is going to be the last time you see Scott for a little bit until a week from today, actually. Yeah, Tuesday morning. So
You can catch us tomorrow on Falcons tomorrow
Yeah.
morning. Forging the Falcons if you wanted to over on my channel, /C/Scott Kennedy. Real tough
Yep.
to remember.
Yep. 100%. But we appreciate the heck out of you guys. Things are down now, but eventually they'll get better. With enough time, things will change. But for now, we're in Groundhog's Day once again. But appreciate you guys. Scott, it's good to see you again. Everyone have a good rest of your Tuesday. Continue to choose compassion and kindness. And as always, go Broncos.